Here is 101 fascinating facts about the Line project of Saudi Arabia while you fall asleep. Saudi Arabia claims that the line will eventually house 9 million residents, all within a footprint of just 34 square kilometers. For perspective, that's a population density more than double that of Manhattan, making it one of the densest human settlements in history, by design. The walls of the line are planned to be entirely mirrored on the outside. This futuristic look reflects the surrounding desert, mountains, and sky, but it's also drawing criticism from ecologists who say it could confuse migratory birds or overheat the desert ecosystem. Despite its clean energy promises, construction of the line is already causing massive environmental destruction. Entire tribes have been displaced, archaeological sites bulldozed, and protected areas encroached upon, raising questions about whether a sustainable city should begin by erasing ancient cultures and ecosystems. The project will rely entirely on renewable energy, including solar, wind, and hydrogen power. Cars are banned, streets are non-existent, and everything is designed to be reachable in under 5 minutes by foot or high-speed rail, promising a zero-emission utopia that may never exist. If completed, the line will have a year-round climate control system using advanced shading, ventilation, and AI-controlled air circulation to maintain a spring-like temperature even in the blazing Saudi heat. However, such a system on this scale has never been proven to work. Residents of the line will live in vertically stacked layers known as modules, with homes, offices, schools, and parks built above and below each other. This zero-gravity urbanism will blur the line between horizontal and vertical planning, essentially turning a city into a layered organism. The core transportation system of the line is a high-speed underground rail expected to travel from one end to the other in 20 minutes. This means trains must reach speeds well over 500 kilometers per hour, rivaling the fastest in the world, all while moving beneath 9 million people. The project is part of a $500 billion megacity initiative started by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. NOM stands for Neo, New, and Mustaqbal, meaning future. It's not just a city, it's a testbed for AI governance, robotic law enforcement, and genetic engineering. The construction of the line has already been linked to serious human rights violations. Indigenous tribes like the Huaytat have been forcibly evicted, with several activists imprisoned or even allegedly executed for resisting relocation. Critics fear the line could become a dystopia beneath its utopian surface. The line claims it will eliminate car traffic, commutes, and pollution, but critics note that maintaining such a hyperdense vertical city may require massive energy input, especially for vertical elevators, drones, and delivery bots that replace traditional logistics. The mirrored walls of the line could potentially create a dangerous death ray effect, where reflected sunlight could focus heat into extreme hot spots. Similar issues plagued buildings like the Walkie-Talkie in London, which melted parts of nearby cars with concentrated sunlight. The line promises that AI will manage everything, from climate, transportation, education, and security to personalized services for each resident. This algorithmic urbanism raises chilling questions. Who controls the data? And what happens if the system glitches or get hacked? Within the line, citizen scoring systems have been hinted at in planning documents. These would use biometric data and behavioral tracking to tailor services or restrict them based on behavior. This eerily resembles China's social credit system, embedded into urban infrastructure itself. The project's underground levels will include a hidden service spine for waste management, drone delivery ports, and underground logistic tunnels. It's like a mechanized circulatory system, keeping the visible parts pristine while all the industrial ugliness runs underneath like veins. Saudi Arabia has hired top Hollywood designers and futurists to shape the line's aesthetic. Even the promo videos are created using cinematic world-building teams, blurring the line between real city planning and science fiction storytelling. Architects have questioned how natural light, airflow, and human psychological needs will be addressed in a narrow, enclosed city. Living in a 500-meter high wall with mirrored exteriors and no visible horizon may lead to sensory deprivation, disorientation, or mental health risks. The line's creators have claimed it will have cloud seeding stations to help induce rainfall. Altering the weather to support an artificial city in the desert may seem brilliant or deeply disturbing, given the unpredictable ecological consequences of such atmospheric manipulation. Though positioned as futuristic, the line echoes ancient fortress cities with controlled gates and layered defenses. With only a few entry points, it's also incredibly easy to surveil and control, prompting fears it may function more as a digital panopticon than a free society. The line will be built in phases over decades, but early drone footage and leaked blueprints reveal massive trenching operations already underway, slicing through pristine desert and tribal land. The scale of disruption is visible from satellites, hinting at just how massive the ambition and damage really is. The line is planned to have robotic caretakers and AI-driven infrastructure that manage not just the city, but the lives of its residents, from meal delivery drones to emotion tracking wearables. This pushes the boundaries of convenience, but also raises the terrifying specter of constant, inescapable surveillance. One of the eeriest aspects of the line is its impenetrable vertical walls. Unlike traditional cities with suburbs or natural sprawl, the line is a closed ecosystem. If you want to leave or enter, you'll have to pass through limited checkpoints monitored by security and AI. Some analysts argue that the line isn't just a city, it's a psychological experiment on an unprecedented scale. By compressing millions of people into a mirrored monolith in the desert, it may test human adaptability to artificial environments and the breaking point of digital overreach. Although the line promotes itself as environmentally friendly, construction so far has relied heavily on cement, steel, and glass, all of which are carbon-intensive materials. This contradiction between its ecological promises and its environmental footprint could make it a greenwashed megaproject in the long run. Saudi Arabia is investing billions into biometric infrastructure within the line, including facial recognition, gait analysis, and even emotion reading software. In theory, it creates a frictionless, personalized experience. In practice, it could become the world's most sophisticated surveillance system embedded into urban life. The line will use vertical farming and artificial lakes to support local food and water supplies in a desert with almost no rainfall. This means relying on high-energy desalination, advanced agri-tech, and imported soil, all of which defy the natural limitations of its location. The city's planners envision holograms replacing signage, AR glasses guiding people through stores, and AI avatars serving as virtual concierges. While this sounds cutting edge, it also implies that living in the line may feel more like a simulation than real life. In leaked NEOM documents, there were references to DNA-based citizen registration, with healthcare and privileges tailored to your genetic profile. If implemented, this would make the line one of the only cities to embed genomic identity into its public services infrastructure. The line will have no cars or roads. Instead, people will rely on pedestrian pathways and ultra-high-speed rail running beneath the city. However, experts warn that in emergencies, like a fire or earthquake, evacuation without streets or private transport could become a logistical nightmare. The mirrored walls of the line are expected to stretch continuously for 170 kilometers. This creates an optical illusion that warps perspective from a distance and could alter migratory patterns of animals, confuse pilots, or even become a hazard for desert navigation. Within the city's design, the concept of personal space is radically altered. You may live in a unit with neighbors on all sides, above and below, with very little access to private outdoor areas. It's an existence that could feel like a luxurious cage. Despite its promises of harmony and efficiency, the line is a monoculture built from a single vision, by a single government, in a single design language. There's almost no room for organic growth, diversity of styles, or grassroots expression. Security experts fear that if hacked, the smart infrastructure of the line could collapse. A cyber attack could take down entire transportation grids, food systems, or environmental controls, turning the city from a utopia into a lockdown digital prison in hours. Although it claims to be open to the world, the line is legally and politically governed by Saudi Arabia, a country known for censorship and restricted freedoms. Once inside, residents could be subject to government surveillance, restricted speech, and authoritarian oversight, amplified by AI. Planners aim to provide all services, including schools, clinics, and shopping, within 5 minutes of every home. But to achieve this, residents may be locked into algorithm-determined districts, with their movement, access, and lifestyle choices filtered by predictive systems and behavioral data. In official plans, the line will feature daily AI-curated experiences, like adjusting lighting, temperature, and soundscape based on your emotional data. Essentially, your mood will be harvested and used to modify your surroundings, a technological version of mood engineering. Critics point out that the line doesn't account for cultural friction. Bringing together 9 million people from different nationalities into a single, narrow corridor might generate intense social tension, especially when governed by top-down algorithms and rigid planning. The line promises to solve the problem of urban sprawl, but instead creates a vertical sprawl with neighborhoods stacked on top of each other, and entire communities living in compact layers that may feel increasingly claustrophobic despite the tech-enhanced aesthetics. Some urban planners warn that the line may not be scalable or even survivable under real-world conditions. Dust storms, heat waves, maintenance issues, and population growth could easily make the entire system collapse, especially if residents lose trust in its digital nervous system. One of the strangest proposed features is the use of personalized scent emitters. These would infuse different modules with customized smells tailored to evoke emotional calm or productivity. While fascinating, it also hints at a city so controlled it manages even your senses. The line's rigid linear layout could inadvertently create a psychological toll on orientation and identity. In most cities, landmarks, parks, or city centers offer spatial cues. But in the line, the endless mirrored corridor may cause confusion, disconnection, or even spatial anxiety over time. The line's promotional material emphasizes zero-gravity urbanism, a concept where infrastructure and amenities are layered vertically. While innovative, this turns horizontal human movement, our evolutionary norm, into a vertical climb that could cause mental and physical fatigue and dependence on elevators or automated platforms. Despite being a megacity in the desert, the line plans to host rainmaking systems through cloud seeding and climate manipulation. This sounds futuristic, but raises serious ethical and environmental questions about geoengineering on such a massive, enclosed scale. Planners anticipate that the majority of the line's governance will be handled by AI councils, digital systems programmed to make decisions about zoning, transportation, healthcare allocation, and energy use. This could leave citizens at the mercy of opaque algorithms with no human appeal. One of the more haunting ideas is that the line might develop digital castes over time, where richer residents gain priority access to AI services, entertainment, and personalized care, while poorer groups get minimal, automated treatment and limited digital privileges within the system. A hidden danger in the line's design is its lack of horizon visibility. With mirrored walls extending endlessly and minimal natural skylines, human circadian rhythms could be disrupted due to loss of orientation with natural sunlight and spatial cycles, affecting mental health long-term. To enforce social harmony, the line may introduce AI predictive policing, identifying potential lawbreakers before any crime is committed based on behavior, location, and biometrics. While this could reduce crime, it also risks Orwellian pre-crime scenarios targeting innocent individuals. The line is expected to generate its own laws under a separate jurisdiction called EOM law, which is still undefined but could diverge dramatically from Saudi Arabia's existing legal system. This means residents could live under a shadow legal framework, open to abuse. Its mirrored facade has raised concerns from environmental scientists about bird collisions, since migratory birds crossing the Arabian Peninsula could be unable to detect the walls. This could lead to mass deaths of avian species, turning the structure into an unintended kill zone. The line's energy system will rely heavily on solar and hydrogen technologies, both of which are still in volatile stages of industrial development. In the event of system failure, residents could face complete blackouts in extreme desert conditions with nowhere to escape. Some critics suggest the line might become the world's first algorithmic city-state, with citizenship, work, entertainment, and relationships managed through points-based reputation systems, a concept dangerously close to gamifying human worth for digital rewards or penalties. There are plans to incorporate a motion-sensitive architecture, where walls adjust in transparency and temperature based on residents' moods. While this is cutting edge, it also makes your psychological state an input variable, further eliminating privacy in even the most intimate spaces. The line has plans for autonomous underground cargo and waste systems, removing trash and restocking supplies using robots. But if even one layer of that underground infrastructure breaks, it could lead to cascading failures and an unlivable buildup of waste or supply shortages. Because of its design, residents in the line will likely never drive a car, see a traditional road, or experience a suburban backyard again. While the city promotes walkability, it might also lead to loss of personal autonomy and outdoor culture. The line has no physical space for farming communities, forests, or wildlands within its footprint. This eliminates natural ecosystems from the lived environment and could lead to eco-alienation, where humans are psychologically affected by the lack of biodiversity and living soil. An unsettling possibility is that the line could be used for population control and experimentation. With tightly controlled data, behavior, movement, and genetics all in one place, it could become a test bed for future surveillance societies or AI-governed regimes. To simulate seasons or ambience, the line will likely use digital sky ceilings, projections that mimic time of day or weather. This means residents may never experience a real sky, instead living in a loop of curated artificial environments. Many of the jobs within the line will be automated or AI-assisted, reducing the need for human labor. While efficient, this raises questions about economic disparity, with manual workers likely brought in from abroad under strict limitations, replicating the harsh labor dynamics already present in the Gulf. Critics warn that once constructed, the line could become a geopolitical trap, locking residents in a region governed by authoritarian structures under the guise of innovation. If diplomatic tensions rise or reforms regress, it could become a luxurious digital cage with no exit. Despite its sleek look, the line's massive energy and infrastructure needs make it deeply vulnerable to cyber terrorism. A single targeted hack could disable elevators, shut down climate systems, lock access doors, or worse, trap residents in digital purgatory suspended in the desert. The line's extreme vertical zoning could lead to an unnerving sense of social stratification, where the wealthier classes live on higher levels with more sun exposure and better views, while the lower classes remain closer to the ground, literally and metaphorically beneath others. The line's 120-kilometer mirrored structure will reflect and trap sunlight, potentially creating an urban heat island effect not seen anywhere else. Some scientists speculate this could cause unexpected thermal reverberations, increasing heat intensity both inside and around the city despite claims of sustainability. There are no plans for traditional cemeteries or burial grounds inside the line. This raises disturbing questions about how death and mourning will be handled in a system designed to be clean, efficient, and endlessly progressive. Even human grief may be systematized. The city's uniform and repetitive design may create a disorienting experience for residents. With mirrored walls and identical modules, it's possible that people could develop symptoms similar to those experienced in sensory deprivation environments, including identity confusion and derealization. The line is promoted as car-free and pedestrian-first, but in reality, AI-controlled high-speed transit will dominate movement. Human walking is confined to select areas, making the pedestrian experience more performative than practical, and possibly leading to digital dependency for every trip. Critics warn that the line's tight control over entertainment, food, information, and even social interaction may result in state-controlled behavioral engineering. By adjusting algorithms, authorities could influence how people think, feel, vote, or interact, subtly shaping behavior through invisible nudges. The line's construction involves carving deep into desert rock and building massive underground tunnels. This risks disturbing ancient geological layers and fossil beds. Millennia-old natural archives may be obliterated, making way for a city that erases the very history beneath it. The line will reportedly use personalized digital environments, meaning each resident may see different ads, light levels, or even social avatars depending on their profile. This might lead to a terrifying loss of shared reality, where no two people experience the same world. Because the line is expected to rely heavily on facial recognition, biometric scans, and behavior tracking, it creates a perfect feedback loop of compliance. Residents may unconsciously alter their behavior to align with acceptable norms, leading to mass self-censorship and loss of individuality. In the event of a large fire, earthquake, or system failure, evacuating millions of residents from a 200-meter-tall, 170-kilometer-long linear structure poses engineering and logistical nightmares. Emergency exits could be blocked, and rescue efforts may become catastrophically unmanageable. One proposed feature includes AI-run courts and legal arbitration, removing the need for human judges. While it may sound efficient, it could allow errors, bias, or manipulation to go unchecked in decisions that could affect marriages, property rights, and even citizenship. Inhabitants of the line may become guinea pigs in genomic and biometric tracking experiments. With total health, diet, movement, and emotional states recorded, there is potential for authorities to correlate behavior with genetics, creating new forms of medical or even social discrimination. The line's architecture is so untested and unprecedented that it may require decades of internal restructuring before becoming truly livable. Early residents could be caught in a web of experimental layouts, glitchy infrastructure, and unfinished social systems for years. While the line aims to be sustainable, its carbon footprint during construction will be enormous. The energy needed to build such a megastructure in the desert, including mirrored panels, AI systems, and vertical cities, might erase decades of net zero progress before it even opens. The line promotes a vision of nature nearby, but it will be entirely artificial nature, manicured vertical gardens, synthetic trees, digital birdsong. This could result in a generation of children growing up without ever experiencing wild, untouched ecosystems, fundamentally changing human-nature relationships. Residents may be required to sign binding lifestyle contracts that dictate health, environmental, and behavioral compliance. Breaking these could result in points-based penalties, limited access to amenities, or even eviction, making freedom a conditional privilege, not a right. The city's strict vertical stacking of zones could create digital claustrophobia, where people feel trapped between metal walls, screens, elevators, and air-conditioned corridors. Without access to vast open spaces, the psychological toll may resemble symptoms found in long-term submarine crews or space stations. Plans to use drones for delivery, surveillance, and crowd control mean residents will live under constant aerial observation. Unlike traditional cities where privacy may exist indoors or in alleys, the line removes all visual blind spots, creating a fully transparent society. The line's development displaces indigenous tribes, such as the Howittat, whose lands were seized, homes destroyed, and some members reportedly arrested or killed for resisting relocation. Their erasure is rarely discussed in promotional material, turning the project into a silent cultural genocide. If the line fails economically or socially, there is no escape infrastructure for 9 million people. Unlike a city that can expand or shift organically, the line's structure makes it binary, either fully functional or catastrophically broken, with no fallback or plan B. The line may eventually run on continuous surveillance AI that monitors emotional tone, body language, and microexpressions to detect unrest or dissent. This could lead to real-time emotion-based interventions, making every sigh, smirk, or hesitation a potential trigger for state response. With the promise of complete automation, there's the risk that humans will lose vital survival skills. Children growing up in the line may never learn how to cook, navigate natural terrain, or interact without a device, creating a digitally dependent generation utterly unprepared for the real world. Although the exterior is reflective and futuristic, the line's interior will have limited access to sunlight and no natural weather. Rain, clouds, and even nightfall may be simulated, disconnecting residents from the biological rhythms that govern human hormone regulation and mental wellness. The The line is being marketed globally to attract elite foreign residents, which could create an intense class divide. Locals may serve as invisible labor, maintaining a utopia they're excluded from. Over time, this may breed resentment, rebellion, or cultural fragmentation. The entire length of the line is supposed to be traversable in just 20 minutes using ultra-high-speed transit. But should that system falter, it would take days to walk from one end to the other, creating a geographical trap inside a technological fantasy. Every single product, from food to books to clothes, must be imported into the line or manufactured inside its controlled environment. This means a total monopoly over goods and culture, with a potential for algorithm-driven censorship in what's available and what's not. Residents' access to services, jobs, and leisure will likely be algorithmically ranked. Those who fail to comply with behavioral expectations, such as exercise routines or civic participation, might receive reduced privileges, turning the line into a digital meritocracy with no appeal process. Because the city is contained within mirrored walls, there's virtually no visible external world, which could trigger a phenomenon known as glass world syndrome, a psychological state where people feel trapped in reflections, unable to perceive real boundaries between self and environment. The city's vast LED infrastructure and network of screens may overwhelm users with hyperstimulation. When light, sound, and sensory feedback are all digitally generated, it may become impossible to experience silence or darkness, leading to chronic fatigue and digital overstimulation disorders. If a conflict, cyber attack, or regime change occurs, the very infrastructure of the line could be turned against its own citizens. Surveillance systems, automated doors, and transport could be hijacked, locking residents into a digitally fortified prison without resistance. Its economic survival may depend on becoming a global data center, harvesting biometric and behavioral data from millions and selling it to third parties. In this model, every resident becomes a product whose daily actions are monetized by those in power. Because of its scale, failure to maintain the line's critical systems could lead to urban decay faster than traditional cities. Instead of slow decline, the city might experience instant collapse if climate, food, or transit networks suffer a major breakdown. The line's public data displays and behavioral dashboards might lead to digital shaming, where residents' productivity, environmental impact, or social contributions are broadcast for others to see, creating a culture of constant judgment and pressure to perform as good citizens. Its reliance on centralized AI governance creates a single point of failure. If the main algorithm is flawed, hacked, or corrupted, every system from justice to water to housing could misfire simultaneously, throwing millions into chaos within minutes. With no visible terrain changes, no hills, no coastlines, no city centers, the line eliminates geographic memory. This could make it impossible for future historians or citizens to document change, as the environment remains perpetually sterilized and devoid of historical texture. Critics warn that the line could be a prototype for planetary colonization, where governments practice total environmental control in preparation for Mars or the Moon. If so, this could become humanity's first voluntary simulation of life in exile from Earth. Mass psychological experiments may occur inside the line without public awareness. With full surveillance and biometric data, authorities could test how architecture, lighting, media, or laws shape behavior, treating millions as experimental variables in long-term social simulations. There are fears that the line may host black box AI labs, hidden research centers that operate without international oversight. This could lead to the development of dangerous technologies, like autonomous weapons or mind-affecting algorithms, under the guise of smart governance. Social media inside the line will likely be centralized and regulated through the NEOM tech stack. This means your entire digital identity, posts, conversations, memories, can be edited, censored, or deleted by those in control, with no alternative platforms allowed. And finally, should the line succeed, it may become the template for future cities across the world, a future where nature is a screen, privacy a myth, freedom conditional, and life itself carefully optimized by code. If that happens, the line isn't just a city, it's humanity's turning point.